What if I told you that the CIA built a massive deep sea mining ship as a cover story to secretly steal a sunken Soviet nuclear submarine from the bottom of the Pacific Ocean? Imagine this in 1974, while the Cold War was at its peak. The CIA convinced the world that eccentric billionaire Howard Hughes was mining manganese nodules from the ocean floor. In reality, they were attempting the most audacious intelligence operation in history, trying to raise a 300-foot-long nuclear submarine from 17,000 feet underwater using technology that had never been tested. Project Azorian cost over $800 million in today's money, involved building the largest ship ever constructed at that time, and required keeping thousands of people silent about an operation so classified that most CIA directors didn't know the full details. If you think you understand the limits of Cold War espionage, this story will completely shatter your assumptions. So make sure you stay until the end, because what they actually recovered will shock you. Welcome back to our investigations into hidden history. Today we're diving into one of the CIA most ambitious and secretive operations, Project Azorian, the attempt to raise a Soviet nuclear submarine from the depths of the Pacific Ocean in 1974. In this video, we'll explore how the CIA created an elaborate cover story involving Howard Hughes and deep sea mining, how they built revolutionary technology to operate at depths no human had ever reached, and how they managed to keep one of the largest operations in intelligence history completely secret for years. We'll examine the incredible engineering challenges that pushed 1970's technology to its absolute limits and discover what the CIA actually found when they reached the ocean floor. Most remarkably, we'll see how this operation required the cooperation of Hollywood, the media, and even rival intelligence agencies to maintain one of the most complex deceptions ever attempted. The technical innovations developed for Project Azorian revolutionized deep sea exploration and continue to influence underwater technology today. To understand the audacity of Project Azorian, we need to go back to March 8, 1968, and one of the most significant naval disasters of the Cold War. On that date, the Soviet ballistic missile submarine K-129 sank in the Pacific Ocean northwest of Hawaii, taking all 98 crew members to their deaths. The K-129 was no ordinary submarine. This was a Gulf-class ballistic missile submarine carrying 3 R-21 nuclear-armed ballistic missiles, sophisticated Soviet navigation equipment, nuclear torpedoes, and most importantly, cryptographic materials and code books that could reveal the deepest secrets of Soviet naval operations. The submarine had been on routine patrol when it disappeared without any distress signal. Soviet naval forces conducted an intensive search operation, deploying dozens of ships and aircraft across thousands of square miles of Pacific Ocean. For weeks, Soviet vessels crisscrossed the search area, but the ocean had swallowed K-129 completely. What the Soviets didn't know was that the U.S. Navy's underwater listening posts had detected the submarine's final moments. The sound surveillance system, a network of underwater microphones designed to track Soviet submarines, had recorded what appeared to be an internal explosion aboard K-129. American analysts had a general idea of where the submarine had gone down. Using this acoustic data, the USS Halley, but a specially modified nuclear submarine equipped with deep-sea search equipment, was dispatched to locate the wreckage. After weeks of systematic searching using underwater cameras and sonar, they found it K-129 sitting on the ocean floor at a depth of 16,500 feet, nearly 3 miles underwater. The photographs transmitted back by Halley, but revealed both opportunity and challenge. The submarine appeared to be largely intact, suggesting that the Soviet nuclear weapons, navigation equipment, and intelligence materials might be recoverable. But the depth presented an almost impossible obstacle. No technology existed that could lift a 2,000-ton submarine from such depths. This is where the story becomes a tale of impossible engineering and audacious deception. The CIA realized they had discovered the intelligence coup of the century, but executing it would require technology that didn't exist and a cover story so elaborate it would involve some of the most famous people in America. The technical challenges of Project Azorian were staggering. In 1970, the deepest salvage operation ever attempted had recovered objects from about 20 0 feet underwater. The CIA was proposing to go 8 times deeper to crush depths where the water pressure exceeded 0 pounds per square inch, enough to instantly kill any human and crush conventional equipment like tin cans. No crane existed that could lift 2,000 tons from 17,000 feet underwater. No ship was large enough to handle such an operation. No claw mechanism could grip a submarine at those depths. Every single component of the operation would have to be invented from scratch. The CIA turned to Howard Hughes and his Summa Corporation, but not because Hughes was personally involved. In fact, Hughes himself may never have known the full details of the operation. Instead, the CIA used Hughes' reputation as an eccentric billionaire with unlimited resources and strange projects to create the perfect cover story. The cover story was brilliant in its audacity. Hughes had publicly announced plans to harvest manganese nodules from the deep ocean floor, valuable mineral deposits that could theoretically be profitable to mine. This provided perfect justification for building a massive deep sea mining ship with unprecedented capabilities. The ship they built was extraordinary. The Hughes Glomar Explorer was 618 feet long, making it one of the largest ships ever constructed at that time. But the truly revolutionary technology was hidden from public view. The ship featured a massive opening in its hull called a moon pool that allowed operations to be conducted completely concealed from observation by other vessels or aircraft. The recovery system was even more remarkable. Engineers designed a giant mechanical claw called Clementine that could descend to the ocean floor on a string of specially designed steel pipe sections. Each pipe segment had to be precisely engineered to withstand the enormous pressure while maintaining structural integrity during the lifting operation. The entire system was controlled remotely from the ship using 1970s computer technology that pushed the limits of what was possible. Operators had to manipulate the claw mechanism using closed circuit television and primitive sonar. Trying to grab a submarine they could barely see in complete darkness miles below the surface. But the most challenging aspect wasn't technical, it was maintaining absolute secrecy while involving thousands of people in the operation. This is where Project Azorian becomes a masterclass in intelligence deception and operational security. The CIA had to convince the world that Hughes was conducting legitimate deep sea mining while simultaneously hiding one of the most complex engineering projects ever attempted. The deception operated on multiple levels. Publicly, Hughes and his companies promoted the economic potential of deep sea mining, releasing studies and projections that made the venture seem commercially viable. They hired legitimate marine geologists and mining engineers who genuinely believed they were working on a mining project. Meanwhile, the actual operation was compartmentalized so strictly that most participants never knew the true purpose. Ship construction workers were told they were building a mining vessel. Marine engineers were given only the technical specifications they needed for their specific tasks. Even many CIA officers involved in the project weren't briefed on the complete mission. The media manipulation was equally sophisticated. The CIA worked with friendly journalists to plant stories about Hughes' mining venture while simultaneously using intelligence assets to discourage investigation into the project's real purpose. When curious reporters asked questions, they were directed to public relations specialists who could discuss deep sea mining in convincing detail. Perhaps most remarkably, the CIA managed to conduct the operation while Soviet intelligence was actively trying to determine what the Hughes Glomar Explorer was actually doing. Soviet spy ships shadowed the mining vessel, and KGB agents attempted to penetrate Hughes' organization. The deception had to be convincing enough to fool professional intelligence officers who suspected the cover story was false. The pressure on operational security was enormous. A single leak could have resulted in Soviet naval forces intervening to prevent the salvage operation, potentially triggering a major international incident or even military confrontation. On July 4, 1974, the Hughes Glomar Explorer reached the salvage site and began the most ambitious underwater recovery operation in history. What happened next became one of the most closely guarded secrets of the Cold War. The technical execution of the recovery was both miraculous and disappointing. The engineering performed flawlessly. Clementine successfully descended to the ocean floor, located the submarine, and began the lifting operation. For weeks, the massive claw slowly raised the submarine toward the surface, an engineering achievement that seemed impossible. But disaster struck when the submarine was about 8,000 feet below the surface. The enormous stress of the lifting operation caused a section of K-129's hull to break away. According to official accounts, about 2/3 of the submarine, including the missile compartment containing the nuclear weapons and most valuable intelligence materials, fell back to the ocean floor. What the CIA actually recovered became one of the most classified aspects of the entire operation. Official statements claim they retrieved the forward section of the submarine containing some crew remains, torpedoes, and limited intelligence materials. The crew members were given a formal burial at sea with military honors, filmed by the CIA as proof of respect for enemy sailors. But many intelligence analysts believe the official account understates what was actually recovered. Some suggest that the CIA obtained more intelligence material than they publicly acknowledged, including cryptographic equipment and navigation systems that provided insights into Soviet naval capabilities. The most persistent rumors claim that the CIA actually recovered nuclear weapons or warheads, but this has never been confirmed. Given the classified nature of the operation, the true extent of the intelligence gathered may never be publicly known. What we do know is that the Soviet Union never learned about the recovery operation until 1975, when investigative journalist Seymour Hersh exposed Project Azorian in the New York Times. Even then, the full details remained classified for decades. Let's examine the different theories about what Project Azorian actually accomplished and why it remained classified for so long. Theory 1. Successful intelligence collection. Despite the hull break, the CIA recovered substantial intelligence materials that provided crucial insights into Soviet submarine design, nuclear weapons technology, and naval operations. The official account downplays the success to protect sources and methods while avoiding Soviet retaliation. Declassified documents suggest that even the limited materials recovered provided valuable intelligence about Soviet submarine construction techniques, acoustic signatures, and operational procedures that influenced U.S. naval strategy for decades. Theory 2. Technological development priority. The primary value of Project Azorian wasn't what it recovered from K-129, but the deep sea technology it developed. The engineering innovations created for the operation revolutionized underwater exploration and provided capabilities that proved valuable for other intelligence operations. The technical achievements of the project established American superiority in deep sea operations that continues today. Military and civilian underwater technology still uses principles developed for Project Azorian. Theory 3. Strategic deception and psychological warfare. The operation served as a demonstration of American technological capabilities that influenced Soviet strategic thinking. Even if the intelligence gained was limited, the fact that the U.S. could attempt such an operation sent a powerful message about American technical superiority. The psychological impact on Soviet naval leadership may have been more valuable than any specific intelligence collected. Knowing that the U.S. could potentially recover sunken Soviet submarines forced changes in Soviet naval procedures and submarine design. The evidence supporting these theories comes from gradually declassified documents and participant testimonies released decades after the operation. CIA technical assessments acknowledge that the engineering challenges were even greater than initially anticipated, but that solutions developed for Project Azorian proved valuable for other operations. Soviet archives released after the Cold War reveal that KGB intelligence analysts suspected the true purpose of the Hughes Glomar Explorer, but couldn't prove it. Internal Soviet documents show concern about the implications of American deep sea recovery capabilities. Participant interviews conducted years later suggest that the technical achievement itself was considered a success regardless of what was actually recovered. The ability to operate at such depths with such precision demonstrated capabilities that influenced both intelligence operations and commercial underwater development. However, critics argue that Project Azorian was an expensive failure that achieved limited intelligence gains at enormous cost. They point out that similar intelligence might have been obtained through other means at a fraction of the expense and risk. Others suggest that the operation's secrecy prevented proper evaluation of its costs and benefits, making it impossible to determine whether the intelligence gained justified the resources invested. The legacy of Project Azorian extends far beyond its immediate intelligence value. The operation established precedents for large-scale covert operations and demonstrated the potential for public-private partnerships in intelligence activities. Most importantly, the deep-sea technology developed for the project revolutionized underwater exploration and recovery. Modern underwater robotics, deep-sea mining operations, and submarine rescue systems all trace their development to innovations created for Project Azorian. The operation also revealed the extent to which intelligence agencies could manipulate media coverage and public perception during the Cold War. The success of the Hughes cover story demonstrated sophisticated capabilities for deception that influenced later covert operations. For international law, Project Azorian raised complex questions about salvage rights in international waters and the recovery of military assets from neutral ocean areas. These legal precedents continue to influence maritime law and underwater archaeology. The question that emerges from studying Project Azorian is fundamental. What are the limits of what governments will attempt in the name of national security? And what does this operation reveal about the relationship between technological capability and strategic ambition? Do you think the CIA was justified in attempting such an expensive and risky operation for uncertain intelligence gains? Or do you believe that Project Azorian represented the kind of technological achievement that justified its costs regardless of what was actually recovered? Share your thoughts in the comments below. This brings us to the end of today's exploration of Project Azorian. The combination of impossible engineering, elaborate deception, and strategic ambition that we've examined today demonstrates how far intelligence agencies will go when they believe national security is at stake. Understanding these historical operations helps us recognize the continuing influence of Cold War thinking on modern intelligence activities. If you found this incredible story of underwater espionage fascinating, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the most ambitious and secretive operations in intelligence history. Ring the notification bell so you never miss our investigations into the projects that push technology and human capabilities to their absolute limits. Until next time, keep exploring the hidden achievements that shaped our world.